Good morning. Hi, I'm Frank Messina, and I'd like to welcome you to the August 19, 2025 meeting of the Chatham Historical Commission. Before we start, we have a number of announcements to go through. Please note, this meeting is being recorded and will be available shortly hereafter for scheduled and on-demand viewing on any smartphone or tablet device. If anyone else is recording the meeting, please notify the chairman. Pursuant to Governor Healy's March 28, 2025 signing of Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025,
Unknown
extending
participant is now joining.
certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Law 30A-20, until June 30th, 2027. This meeting of the Chatham Historical Commission is being conducted in person and via remote participation. Every effort will be made to ensure the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder that persons who would like to listen to this meeting while it is in progress may do so by calling the phone number 508-945-4410, conference ID 266-712-763#, or by joining the meeting online via Microsoft Teams through the link in the posted agenda. While this is a live broadcast and simulcast on Chatham TV, Xfinity Channel 1072, despite our best efforts, we may not be able to provide real-time access. Okay, our first order of business is roll call, and we need to do that officially. Nancy Barr, clerk.
Here.
Stephanie Hamilton.
Here.
Sandy Porter, alternate, is not here. Janet Tennyson.
Here.
Robert Stevens, not here. Robert Wilson, not here. Vice Chair Bob Lear.
Here.
And the Chair, Frank Messina, I'm here. Okay, we can begin. We have a few items to get through, and I think we can hopefully move pretty quickly through them. First, we have a couple of sets of minutes which we need to dispense of. One of June 17, 2025, and one of July 15. So first, we'll do the June 17, 2025 minutes. Any questions, comment? Yes?
Second paragraph on the third page. Let's see, rebuilding it to be wider but shorter as weak as removing. And I'm not sure what the week's supposed to be. But shorter as,
I think it's as well as.
pardon?
I think it might be as well as.
As well as.
As well as? Annie, you okay? Okay, anything else? Okay, we get a motion to accept the minutes as modified?
So move.
I'll second.
Okay. Quick roll call. Bob?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Okay. Next item would be the minutes of July 15th, 2025. Any comments, corrections, additions, deletions? Yes.
Last paragraph on page 4. Actually, the last sentence, Mr. Ahern added are also proposing.
Which one?
Last paragraph, last sentence,
Mr. Ahern.
Mr. Ahern added are also proposing.
They are, maybe.
Maybe.
They are also.
They could be,
Yeah.
Okay.
or he is.
They are also.
Okay, Annie? Anything else? That's the advantage of having a retired school teacher on the commission.
Kindergarten, remember.
Kindergarten. That's okay. Okay, roll call. Bob?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Thank you very much. Okay, before we proceed into the regular agenda as posted, we have a piece of correspondence which Christina, our assistant here, is noted. He's, Mr. Muldoon, you're online?
I am.
Okay. I guess what we're doing here is we have a request. This is the last item on our agenda, 25021 and 20, am I getting that right? Oh, are those the right numbers, or is that a typo?
That's a typo. That should be a 25.
Okay, and, hey, I caught something. 25021, under 158, and 25021 under the Cape Cod Commission Act.
School Street.
And there's a correspondence and request for continuance to September 2nd from the applicant. So we need a motion to confirm. Mr. Lear?
I move we continue the hearing to September 2nd with at the applicant's request.
Second?
Okay. Paul, so are we going to have a different design, or are we just going to continue the conversation, if I may ask, in a nice way?
We will have a different design.
Say again?
We'll have a different design. We've been working hard to refine the design, work with the existing house, and have there be some continuity between the original existing and this new proposed addition, which will be focused on the rear of the house. But we're not quite prepared with the documents yet. We will be prepared for the September 2nd meeting.
Okay, great. Appreciate your cooperation. Okay.
Thank you.
Just for that, and the members of the public, we'll take a quick roll call on the motion. Bob?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Thank you very much, Paul.
Thank you. Take care.
Have a good day. Okay, we have 5 applications that we're going to, or 4 applications we're going to hear. I think we can move quickly through them, at least 1 or 2 of them. The first one is 25026. It's a request for demolition on 693 Orleans Road. This is a full demolition. There is no Form B for the property, and when our consultant, preservation consultant, did the analysis of those properties, I forget when exactly, it was listed as no and not, and is not located in the National Register. The no meant that the, effectively, the consultant thinks it really wasn't worthy of us spending our time and money to go through the process. I'm giving Mr. Litchfield's speech, sorry. Mr. Litchfield, why don't you introduce yourself?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bill Litchfield here on behalf of Katie Terrialt, who, as trustee, owns this property with her husband, Mark. They purchased the property last year. Those of you who were able to come to the site visit saw that that is essentially what you saw when you went there. Ms. Hamilton lives in the neighborhood, so she may have gone out on her own. The structure is old, but as the consultant correctly said, it's certainly not within an historic district. It is not listed on the National or State Register, and I don't think that there is anything historically significant suggesting that the property is associated with any person or event or cultural or political history of the town. It has no particular architectural details. It arguably may have been a full Cape reproduction when originally constructed. Obviously, it's had many changes since then. We would ask that you not impose a demolition delay. Whether you find it to be historic, I think is a challenging call for you to make, but that's your discretion, not mine.
Okay. I think it's, we do have a piece of correspondence from a neighbor and a butter. Why don't I just read that quickly? And it's from Ellen Auer.
Eileen.
Say again?
Eileen.
Eileen? Sorry. A nice handwriting. I have been in a butter to 693 Orleans Road since 1961, 64 years, the year I got married. And I am also the abutter with the longest boundary line. This property has not been known to have any historical buildings, but rather than has been valued for its land as a meadow, door kernel availability, and beautiful floral landscaping. I wish the new owner much success in building a new home in this wonderful neighborhood, as we are a multi-generational residential area. Thank you very much. August 8th, 2022. Okay, I think at this particular point, we'll just quickly look around the room to see if there's any comments or questions. Yes,
I have one question. Are any of the parts of the house going to be saved?
No,
None.
if there is any
So that-
desire for instance, those fans, if anyone would like them, we could make arrangements for
Okay.
them, but there's no intent to reuse any of the current materials.
Thank you.
okay. Janet?
No, I can see why. It's in pretty rough shape, so, no, I don't see historical significance.
Anything?
I have nothing to add.
Bob?
The only historical thing we discussed yesterday was this was a kennel for many, many years, so I've been there in that context, but long ago.
Yeah, and I guess I agree. Unfortunate, it's a pretty little house, a beautiful spot, but, maintenance and time, takes its wear and tear. Sometimes you like to see a little house like that was able to be maintained. You could keep it and then add to it and stuff like that, save some elements, but it's just beyond that point, so I would agree. So, I guess the first thing we do is just confirm the issue of historical significance. Bob?
Yeah, I move the Chatham Historical Commission find that the building structure located at 693 Orleans Road is not historically significant because it does not meet any of the definitional criteria in Section 158-2 A, B, or C of the bylaw. Therefore, the commission does not impose a demolition delay.
I'll second.
Second. Any other discussion? Members of the public for or against the motion? Seeing none. For the public's information, will we take this first step, determine if a property is historically significant? If we determine it is not, then the applicant is free to go forward with whatever it wants to do with the property. If he does, then we go to part two and discuss how we can approach and try to save any historic elements of the property. So seeing none, we'll proceed. Bob?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes,
And the chair votes yes. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you
Litchfield.
very much.
Okay, moving along. The next application is 25027, 94 Mill Creek Road. This is also an application to fully demolish. We always get nervous when we see those words, fully demolish. And it's to be heard within Chapter 158. And again, this has no Form B on the property, nor is it in the National Register, and is a no in the survey list when we did it, so similar category to the previous property. And once again, Mr. Litchfield?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bill Litchfield here on behalf of Frank and Whitney Heavey, who were here in the audience and who, those of you who were in the site visit, met yesterday. What is there now is a circa 1950 three-quarter cape. The Heaveys, for a number of reasons, including the fact that Frank works from home and the fact that Whitney's mother is going to be moving in with them, need some additional room. The existing three-quarter cape will be replaced, subject to zoning board of appeals review, with a similar structure. It'll be a full cape. It will have traditional design. What is there now, however, is only marginally, thank you very much, that's the proposed replacement, although not strictly within your purview, I thought you'd like to know. Again, we think you can find, based on the lack of a Form B, based on the age of the house and so forth, that it is not historically significant. And we would ask that you not find or not impose a demolition delay. I think that the criteria A, B, and C don't apply to this house, and that is essentially where we are.
Okay. All right, well, I guess it could be simple if we concur that what's there now is not historically significant, and basically concurrence with our applicant. Tell me, what is at the bottom of the, I'm just looking at that. Oh, I see. It's the bottom of the front elevation. Okay, I'm looking at it. I don't need it. I got it. I figured it out. Okay, very good. right. There's no other structure besides that? No garage or anything on the property?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
No, I mean, you don't plan, I just was interested, no. It's a very nice house, it's charming, and I think, you know, the neighbors are gonna be happy. Nobody likes to see change, but I think it'll be fine.
Well, as we pointed out yesterday, we're going, and the Heavies are insistent that we retain the large willow in the front of the house, so that'll keep the streetscape rather the same.
Right, yeah. Okay, so the question here really is very simple. Do we consider the house historically significant or not? So let's go around. Steph?
I don't have anything.
No, I think it's not historically significant.
I agree. I think we need to look at these kind of on the cusp cottages and look at where the context and everything like that, but I don't see anything, it's a cute house that's architecturally or otherwise historically significant.
Yeah, well, you bring out a good point relative to context, because we do have a situation in town where we have large accumulation of cottage communities that we hate to see lost, and but I think what it's going back there, it's not the same, but it's very close to what it is. So that's the point. I'm sorry, Bob? Anything else?
The only historic thing I can think of is a prior owner was Bob Manetti, who was my predecessor as chair of the Conservation Commission. But I don't think that counts, so.
Well, if it was you, then it would be different. Then it would be historically significant, right? Okay, I don't, motion, Bob?
Yep, I move the Chatham Historical Commission finds that the building located at 94 Mill Creek Road is not historically significant because it does not meet any of the definitional criteria in section 158-2 A, B, or C of the bylaw. Therefore, the commission does not impose demolition delay.
Second.
Okay. Any member of the public wish to speak for or against the application? Okay. Seeing none. Bob?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all, and have a good day. Moving right along. Okay, 55 Sea Pine Road, 25028.
Which is not on the map.
Say again?
It's not on a map. No, this is a map brand new this year. Sea Pine is not on it.
Sea Pine? Mm-hmm. Really? Well, it's not on that map, but Google got it, let me tell you. So this is an application in accordance with Chapter 158. Did you find it, Steph? Oh, okay, good. And we had a delightful site visit yesterday, and very simply, this is a property in which there is a Form B on the property, although not on the National Register, and it is what we call done, which means we did actually do a survey of it, and there is a Form B, which I think the owners have. Delightful location and delightful property, and why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you're planning to do?
Thank you. My name is Roger Hoyt, architect, lives at 174 Fox Hill Road, and I'm representing the owners, two of whom are here, Haywan Tomlinson and her husband, Bill Noel, and my wife as well, a supporter for all that we do. Our intent here is to try to maintain the character of this house. We're so pleased that 4 of the members of the commission were able to come yesterday, even with a 25-mile-an-hour northeast wind blowing off Rose Pond. It was a little on the chilly side in the back, but you got to see the house at its best, really. And our intention is to try to leave it pretty much as it is right now. Just a minute of history. Roy Tomlinson, who is the owner's great-grandfather, bought all the land on Nickerson's Neck and formed the golf club that's now known as Eastwood Ho. He had also flaked and moved 2 18th century buildings to create the first clubhouse up on the hill. And he also flaked and moved a third house, which he placed at 174 Fox Hill Road, which we have lived in since 19 35, not us, but the family. It's that house was sold by the Tomlinsons to Nancy's family back in 1935, 90 years ago. We're about to welcome the 6th generation of Rosenberry Hoyt family in that on that piece of property, which is also kind of fun. We're connected through Nancy's mother and Haywan's grandmother were sisters. So we are connected right down the line with these two families, and it's really kind of fun. You have the site plan. This house started off, I guess, as a real estate office for the new development of Harbor Coves. It was right at the gate, just beyond the gate, and basically has been there. It was sold after the Harbor Coves got going. It was sold into a residential property and has been. Haywan's family bought it in 1989, so they've had 35 years of use, and her sister and children will be the 3rd generation of Tomlinsons to live on this property. What we're hoping to do here is to maintain the foundation. Annie, could you bring up that foundation plan? So this is a copy of the actual foundation. There's a 6-foot tall basement to the left with a bulkhead, and then a crawl space under the octagon, which is the windmill, and then the crawl space on the rear elevation going back up towards the Crow Pond. It's our intention to leave that foundation just as it is. We're not going to add anything to the footprint of this house. There is a huge chimney on the backside. Annie may bring that next plan, and maybe the picture that there at the bottom. You can see that the chimney, there's a fireplace on the inside. That outside fireplace, which is actually now being held up with wood because the lintel on the back side of that has caved in, and it's started to fall into that outside fireplace. The pointing on the chimney is not good at the top, and it's our intention to take that out, demolish that piece of it, but all the structure around it, including the windmill, will remain as it is, and there'll be a window and a stud wall that will come at that exact location where the outside face of the fireplace is, and that window would look out onto the patio, which again does not get touched, and all the rest of the fenestration on that wing of the house will remain as is. The house itself is a white cedar shingle, which we intend to maintain. All the corner boards, trim, et cetera, around the windows and doors is all also white cedar, which we intend to keep. The only place that we're going to make any major changes would be on the windmill itself, and that is the siding on the windmill, because it's pitched. The shingles have started to deteriorate between probably the loft floor and down to the ground, have started to cup and deteriorate so that they have failed in many cases, especially at the base. So we're going to leave all the shingles. Roof shingles are also red cedar with cedar ridge caps. We're going to leave all that in place, and the only thing we're going to do on the windmill itself is to re-side it and add 2 windows. All the windows on the that section now are awning windows, and we'll be matching that window, which will, I think, show on the other picture, Annie, that yeah, you can see the two windows above the entrance door are awning windows, 4-pane windows, and we'll match those, one window in the loft area, and then one window on the first floor, which is going to be converted into a kitchen. But as I said, perimeter of this entire thing will remain just as it is, and to try to maintain the character that is there on site as we speak. The only other thing is that we have actually, Haywan's mother has bought a wheel. If those of you who saw the wheels, we walked by it or got blown by it yesterday, is in pretty bad shape, but we have a wheel that's almost exactly the same size, and it's our intention to replace the wheel. All of the works and the top of the windmill all look to be in reasonably good shape. So again, we'll just do whatever we have to do to maintain the look of that just as it is right now. So I think that gives you an idea of what we're looking to do for the job, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have
Mr. White, I got the feeling you've done this before.
a few times.
And you get an A+ on your application and your presentation.
Thank
Trust me, we get some doozies, and the biggest problem is figure out what the heck is he trying to do, and just as the Form B indicates, this is certainly an iconic structure. But it's interesting because, you look at it, you say, well, it's 1956, it's not old. And let me tell you how many arguments I have with people. Well, what are you doing? It's not old, it's not 1700. And the question of what is history, what's historic, and what helps us maintain the historic character of the community, and certainly this is it. And I know I think it was Mr. Dre, our preservation consultant, I had talked to him, and it was when he does these things, and sometimes he gets a house, he's really delighted to do it because it is interesting, and the history of the property, of that whole part of Chatham on how it was developed is a long story. Just one or two questions before I open it up. You have to go to zoning?
Yes.
What for, if I may ask?
Well, that was a good question, because I wasn't sure
You're not sure?
why, but it was
You're not increasing, well, you are increasing the footprint technically.
20 square feet with a cantilever off the backside.
Okay, but let me just quickly, when you go to zoning, the issue is that you're exceeding the percentage coverage, because it's not a big piece of property.
Right.
We passed a bylaw change to the zoning a couple of years ago, which indicates or provides if a home is historically significant, which we determined, which I believe we're going to reiterate here today, this is historically significant, you get additional coverage. It's allowed. In other words, the bylaw, the town finally recognizes we wanted to preserve an historically significant home. That, okay, if they just need another, 2 or 3 or 4, whatever the percentage is, I'm not sure what the percentage is, Bob, that in our bylaw change, but it's something. In other words, that, I want to maintain this historic house, but I need another, X number of square feet. So by right, you have the authority. But anyway, so when you get to that point, think about it and let us know through Christina, because we can be an advocate and say, hey, this is historically significant, he's entitled to do that. But the Historical Commission has to basically, say, so we would do that. But I just noticed that, you have zoning in there, or that you represent zoning, but let us know.
The house is 700 square feet, and the site is 15,000.
Oh, so it should not be a problem.
And we're adding 20 square feet, but not to the foundation, only we have a cantilever, a 2-foot by 10-foot cantilever to make that one room that's only 9 foot deep, 11 foot deep at that point, so it will act as a premier bedroom rather than having to switch the, the bed around and put it up against the wall. So that's really it. We had thought, and Tom Stella, who did the site plan, had thought that because of, it was so diminutive, that there wouldn't be an issue with zoning. But when I submitted it originally, building felt that we ought to go to both of you. I'm really glad we came to you, because that was,
Yeah, well,
that was
please.
fun for us yesterday.
Please let us know, and Christina will alert me when you're up, when your meeting is, and, you know, we could make that clear, and, you know, I don't know if, you know, you necessarily need an attorney, but, you know, but it's clear, it's clearly written, that if a house is historically significant, and the historical commission determined it is historically significant, by right, you're entitled to this additional coverage, okay? All right, quickly, 1 second. Okay, just quickly, let's go around the room. Steph,
I do not believe it's historically significant.
you do not?
I believe it is, but I believe it's historically significant, but in a very slim way.
In what?
Slim way.
Okay,
I think it's historically significant, but I think the minor change they want to make is not going to impact the historical significance of what they want to do.
Nancy?
I just have a question out of curiosity. It's not real clear from our form or from what you said. The windmill was purpose-built in the 1950s, or was it moved there from another location and then, you know?
Well, we have a question about that.
Okay,
Our understanding was that it was moved. It was a water windmill,
okay,
and it was moved, and it looks like it because the framing on the windmill is different than the framing on the two additions,
right.
but we don't have any written record that that was the
Nothing
case.
So the wood is probably older then.
Yes, it is, and it's
Well, if you got
different.
nothing else to do with a few $100, you can do dendrochronology and date it.
Well, or maybe like one of those
Yeah.
aerial maps or something will show it in the
Yeah,
area.
That's a fascinating thing.
Yeah.
I really got into that, this dendrochronology. It's like within 10 years, they can tell you where the tree came from, anyway. Okay, anything else?
No, I think it would be interesting to ascertain that, but I think it is,
I agree with Janet. I think it probably is historically significant, but the changes are not. Sorry. I agree with Janet. The changes it probably is historically significant, but the changes will not negatively impact that historic character.
Okay, I concur. I believe, you know, it is historically significant, and the changes are, you know, will enhance the livability and also the fact that, you know, things need to be fixed up, and minor changes are consistent with historic preservation, in my opinion. Okay, members of the public, you want to speak for or against the application? You want to come on up?
Two quick things.
Uh,
You have to go up to the
You have to come.
microphone. Yeah.
Just to reinforce about the fireplace, it's actually dangerous. I mean, there are bricks, children could be hurt just walking by it. So it's a big plus to get rid of it. And the others at the hearing with ZBA is on the 28th. So
What is the date
the 28th
of,
of August. It's
Of
like 10
August?
days from now. So,
okay,
so it would be, I mean, maybe they would decide they don't even need to hear it if you spoke to them. I don't know how that would happen.
all right, we'll look into that.
It's
Yeah.
on the agenda. It will have to be heard.
Okay.
Do you know
all
what
right.
it's being heard for?
Probably extending maybe a nonconformity of some sort,
Oh,
I would
extending an
think.
existing non-conforming.
And 20 feet seems like a little bit, but a lot of people go for a lot less. But,
Okay,
yeah.
all right, well,
All right.
thank you.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, we'll need a motion. Bob?
I move Chatham Historical Commission find that the building located at 55 Sea Pine Road is historically significant because it is in whole or in part 75 years old or more. And we also find it's associated, it possesses architectural value or significance in terms of style, method of construction. And I guess that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Second.
Second, thank you very much. Any member of the public wish to speak for or against the application? I don't believe there's any correspondence, no. Okay. Nancy?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
Chair Bob?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Okay.
Now we need to approve it.
We determined it's historically significant, now we have to,
Sorry. Chatham Historical Commission also finds that the proposed work to be done dated July 7th, 2025, will not materially diminish the historical significance of the building, and therefore the commission does not impose a demolition delay.
I'll second.
okay. Any other members of the public wish to speak for or against the application? Seeing none. Bob?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Thank you very much, and we'll stay in contact. Thank you very much.
Good luck on your noontime sale.
All right. All right, we've got to try and do this. All right, the next application is 25029, 552 Shore Road. Again, Chapter 158, technically a partial demolition of a significant property on Shore Road. And what we have here is a property which there is a Form B, and it is not located in the Historical Commission, in the National Register District. And it's quite an extensive change in the sense of multiple things being done. And so why don't you introduce yourselves, and we can have a discussion.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and members of the commission. Attorney Mike Ford, representing the applicant and new owners as of June of this year, Mr. Scatone and Ms. Gibbons. Upon buying it and meeting with PSD, represented this morning by John Barker, their head of architectural services, who's with me today, gave direction to them that they wanted to preserve, even though the entire structure is in somewhat difficult condition. It hadn't gotten a lot of care over the years, but they wanted to preserve that main section of the house that we looked at yesterday when you were out there. So a plan has been put together, which we looked at a little bit yesterday, but we'll present to you in more detail today, to demolish the wing on the left side of the property as you go in, and then to replace that with a new wing. That wing is substantially consists of 4 garage bays, and then when you get down to the area where it actually meets the house, the rest of the house itself, there are a series of rooms at that end of the house that are attached to the garages and attached through doorways to the main house inside. That part of the house, as they looked at it, was one that they felt that they could not, frankly, renovate. They saw no need for all that long series of garages. I think their desire and hope is to be able to replace that area with the new section on, excuse me, on the left, and sometime in the future, probably build a garage on some other detached portion of the property. So this property, as near as we can tell, dates to somewhere between 1920 and 1928. There is a Form B. Eric Dre did a good job. Importantly, I think he did not recommend that it be listed on the National Register of Historic Places. That said, in looking at the tests under Chapter 158, this not being in an historic district, I think that, or being on the register itself, it still does, as I think Mr. Dre pointed out in his description, particularly under architecture, represent a kind of a colonial revival style house where the second floor kind of sits in garrison form on the top of the first floor, which we observed when we walked around it yesterday. And similar, perhaps in terms of size, a large house, to those houses that were built during this time period along Shore Road, along particularly the water side of Shore Road. And so when asked yesterday, was historical significance an issue, I answered no. I think there probably is enough here for the commission to make a finding under that architecture that this not only is old enough, but indeed, through its architecture, is probably qualifies at least portions of the house as significant. That said, we could not figure out the age of the garages that are proposed to be demolished. Eric seems to indicate his best thought was, Eric Dre in his Form B, that they might have been built in a couple of fits and starts. It looks like two of them are older than the other two, he thought, if you read his form closely. As reported to you yesterday, or to some of you, as we were walking around, Mr. Barker, through extensive photographic analysis of the history of this area, they seem to start to show up on aerials sometime in the 30s. So they're old as well, but they are an area that if you went inside them at all, just stuck your head in, there's not much to them, and we would suggest really don't carry a great deal of historical significance, any of the four of them. So the folks who have lived in this house over the years didn't seem to me to jump out to help in terms of this being historically significant. Property being initially purchased by an Emma Thayer, and then she was from Rhode Island. She actually built a house. She owned other land over in Old Harbor and built a house at 458 Old Harbor according to the Form B form, and conveyed this as a vacant lot to a doctor from New Jersey, Montclair, New Jersey, James Hannon. And this kind of became known historically, according to Eric, as the Hanna House because of that. And he owned it until, looks like he conveyed it out, according to the records of the Registry of Deeds, in 1930. And at that time is the first time in a deed it's described with the premises together with the building thereon. So we think it's pretty sure that it got built before 1930, given that description in the deed. But other than the doctor living there for a bit, and then a textile guy from Buffalo who lived there for a while, and then there was a whole series of owners over the last 50 to 60 years, ending up with our clients this year. I don't think that any of them jumps out, at least at me, as somebody who was important in the history of Chatham. Notwithstanding that, I think the architecture is still something that you could rely on in finding this is significant as you do your analysis. So we're assuming that that's where you'll go, and we'd like to make our presentation based on that finding. I don't know if you want to make that finding first and then have us go with our presentation.
Thank you very much. I got the feeling you've done this before. Yeah, I'd like to just comment briefly, with Eric's Form B, and it's interesting because, we could tell, at least I did, familiar with him, he's kind of mixed in his writing, and like you commented, well, he doesn't say it's eligible to listing on the National Register. But let me just say a couple of words. That's true. Individually, it really is probably not worthy of listing. But if we would have done something that we were thinking of doing about 20 years, which is to list Shore Road on the National Register as a National Register district, this house was a contributing structure. In other words, it's contributing, we were talking about before, contributing to an area of large, majestic homes. And I always love when people complain about these big McMansions. I said, well, wait a second. Every house on Shore Road is a large house, so what are you talking about? Yeah. But I think, so it does maintain a certain amount of colonial revival and an era, which we would like to try and preserve. And from my perspective, from that point of view, it probably, as you indicated, Michael, that it is worthy of at least some significance, in trying to protect it. I would say, I would vote, yes, it is historically significant, but I also agree with the work that you guys are attempting to do, is probably consistent with maintaining that historical character. So I don't know how the commission feels. Do you want to proceed with the issue of historical significance or not? Yeah,
I think it is historically significant.
okay. Janet? Oh, that hesitation.
Well, loosely defined, it's historically significant. I mean, there are a few aspects of it, 1930 makes it historic, style, Shore Road, but
Making the case for historical significance, very good.
I think it's historically significant. However, the plans to maintain that
Exactly right, yeah,
look
different.
is important, and I think it's been taken into consideration, and having visited it, and it needs a tremendous amount of work, and imagine the fact that they're willing to save the main portion and restore that to its beauty. I think it's a good thing, so that's how I come out.
All right. Dance?
Yeah, I think it's historically significant. Are we going to have a continued discussion after
I
this?
just-
Oh,
about it.
yes, I plan to
Yeah, yeah,
to do
okay.
that. I
Oh,
just
yeah,
didn't know
definitely. No,
how.
I'm not going to
I think
short circuit.
there- I'd like to
Just
talk
that
a little bit more about it,
Michael, he spent a lot of
Absolutely.
time, and I thought we should talk it. And I agree, it is worthy of historical significance, but I'm also caveating it up front. I think the applicant is doing a good job here, and we'll talk about it. All right, Bob?
I agree with that.
All right, why don't we proceed without,
Okay, all right, fine. So with that assumption, we'll proceed, and what I'd like to do is turn it over to John Barker. As I indicated, he's the supervising architect over at Palima Savory de Silva at this point, and have him kind of walk you through what the changes are that are proposed, what's to be demolished and what's to stay, and what the changes are to that portion that will be preserved, so that we can then get to that point of the discussion. We did bring kind of a trim board, so to speak, just to kind of give you an array of some of the trim features that were there, which we thought were important. They're saved when they were taken off, but just in the course of discussion, as he refers to things, we thought it might be illustrative and
really
instructive.
appreciate that. Yes.
John, you want to?
Yes.
John, let me interrupt you half a second. Could you go to the site plan first? It's H000. Just a quick question, I want to get it out of the way.
Put that up.
The three-car garage you're just showing there is not, because a couple of times, Michael, you indicated future. That's not happening?
Not currently.
Say again?
Not currently. No, that's not part of this application.
All right, no,
That's
it's on the plan.
Yeah, this is our master plan for the
Got it.
long-term development of
Okay.
the site.
So it's
Contemplating the.
TBD.
pool and-
Got it.
We just kind of want to show you there's other things out there. that
That's all
might
right.
get
I just
done,
wanted to
Not
clarify.
necessarily under your jurisdiction, but,
No, that's fine. I'm sorry, go ahead, John.
Of course. And I think it was brought up yesterday that the elevations are helpful, but the 3D
Yeah,
views.
they are.
Which is H500, have the side-by-side existing and proposed, is really beneficial. So what you're looking at here is, the top left is the existing 3D model of the current structure, and the top right is the proposed, both of which are looking axonometrically from the southwest corner of the property, looking at the front elevation, where you see in the existing building, the four-car garage with the crossing gable roof structure, and the little kind of shorter connector piece being removed in its entirety. We're mimicking that same gable aesthetic on the new mudroom entry that pushes closer to the main core of the building. The piece that is, I guess, at the kind of crux between the garage addition and the main house is in the worst form of disrepair of the whole house. So this small section here, foundations crumbling, framings rotted out. So we are proposing that we carry this similar gable form in the new elevation, extend the existing main ridge line to capture and land that mudroom addition piece, and tie into the main structure. There are a couple other minor, smaller moves on the front elevation. There's a proposed new dormer on the front elevation, highlighting the front entry. One of the architectural challenges with this house is there are actually 4 entry doors on the front elevation, which is architecturally confusing. There's a door here, the main entry here. There's a door at this connector piece, which we believe was originally an outdoor living space breezeway that at some time in the building's history was enclosed. And then there's a 4th entry here. So the proposal is to make the main primary entrance into the main structure the predominant feature, the predominant entry point on the building. We're preserving the existing ridge, the chimneys on the front elevation. We'll be replacing the windows in kind on the front elevation, replacing the shutters, replacing, documented, the trim profiles, rakes, window, the kind of corbels on the garrisons. Yes, 6/6 double hung windows on the front elevation. Really trying to kind of keep the architecturally significant historic character of the front elevation intact. On the rear side of the house, there's been more noticeable modifications. For example, some large plate glass picture windows that certainly aren't historic. This single-story curved arced addition that houses an extension to the living room and dining room that was sort of glommed on to the historic building, completely out of character. Both of which are being replaced. On the rear, the picture glass windows, we're showing a new bay window, and then we're pulling, again, this gable form forward in the new proposed design on the rear side of the house, and then mimicking it with a second matching gable. And then, as I mentioned on the front, the existing main ridge line will be extended to capture the gable on the rear at the northeast corner of the structure.
How about materials?
Yes, materials, we're matching all of the existing red cedar sidewall shingles with that really exaggerated exposure, which really gives the structure a unique character. The roof will be all new red cedar shingles. All the trim will be painted white, matching profiles. So we're trying to preserve the materiality, the aesthetic, the appearance of the structure with some modifications due to neglect and maintenance to the structure, as well as slight adjustments to the way in which our new clients plan to use the house.
Well, I think the materials, in terms of the architectural elements, it's just in and itself, worthy of the fact that you can, and are going to do that, I think is significant to maintaining the historical architectural look and detail. There's no question the scope of the change is significant. And, we get it if people want to get into some of the details, but, my observation, quite honestly, is I look at it, step back, and I look at the form of the original, the roof lines, specifically the roof lines, and there are some key ones, that you have maintained. The chimneys, of course, is our favorite subject. The kind of the fenestration, which it looks like you're going to reduplicate pretty much.
We've had a catastrophic failure in the control room, so we may want to take a pause before we move on. We're not broadcasting anymore.
What do we have to
We
do?
need to take a break if there's something wrong in the control room.
The broadcast is stopped.
Okay. Rats. We have to take a quick break here. Due to technical difficulties, we need to just take a break.
That's the old TV line. You're aging yourself, Frank.
It says I'm on the air.
It's in name only.
Okay, being totally transparent, I was using my cell phone during the meeting, which shouldn't do that. And I was texting the four people that I'm supposed to take sailing at 12:30, that I'm going to be a little late, so I apologize for that.
At least you weren't playing poker.
That's right. No. I tell you, I was saying the worst part about this beautiful weather and everything else with the storm coming in, there's gonna be one day in between. Yesterday, I was out on a boat, almost got blown off, it was blowing so hard. And then, and Wednesday, Thursday, forget about it, storm lines.
Okay, so we're still broadcasting,
Okay.
and we're going to the Teams, but I have no control over your audio for the recording, so
Keep your microphones
stay
on.
close to your microphones.
Okay.
And I'll just make sure we're still broadcasting.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you. I
Thank you.
apologize.
so I should just continue.
Yes, please.
Okay, looks like we've temporarily corrected our temporary difficulties, and we're continuing. But I guess what I was trying to say is that I feel very comfortable with how you folks are proceeding. And we can get into some of the details if people have some specific elements. But,
Certainly.
I do appreciate the effort and the expense of doing something like this. So, anyway, having said that, but why don't we just open it up?
I do have one question.
Certainly.
Okay, let's go down to the proposed renovation, southern, and let's go to the back. And what is that little extension at the top back of it?
I'm not following exactly,
Okay, go to the bottom one,
yes,
go to the back, and all the way down to the end.
this,
No, other end,
this,
yes. Now, go to the back of, okay. What is the sticking out of the roof?
oh, up here?
Yes,
There is an existing cupola on the garage structure here that's very prominent from the front as you enter the driveway. You see it up on the top of the roof line here that we are matching exactly and relocating to the new gable end on the front. So
Almost looks
again,
like it was a home to swallow.
yeah, thank you.
as you approach, you get the gable with the cupola as it exists today.
I think it's in the pictures.
Janet?
I have no questions. I think it's a good plan.
Thank you. Nancy?
I think I have more comments than I have questions,
Oh.
but I think it's important because when we look at these things for people who are doing these kinds of plans, I think that it's a little unfortunate to me that all the garages are being totally demolished, particularly the set closest to the house, because that looks like it may have been the earlier one, and then the other one came later. The one with the cupola currently looks like it may have been closer to being original. Having said that, I believe retaining the other front detailing and roof lines and everything you're doing goes a long way to kind of ameliorating the loss of those garages, and I really appreciate that. And so I do not have a huge problem, as I would, if you were making significant other changes to that side of the house, which looks like is very close to what it was when they built it. It hasn't been extensively changed, then I would have more problems. But because you're working so hard to retain that original detail on that facade, I feel better about the loss of the garages, even though I think that one set of them is kind of really does add to the historical significance. On the other side, if somebody was proposing the changes in massing and windows, fenestration, the things that you are proposing, if all those changes were to a facade that had not already been extensively changed, I would have a big problem with it. However, the fact that on the rear, all those windows, plate glass windows that are clearly been added far more recently, as you said, those semicircular additions, that part of the house has already been extensively changed. So I also do not have a problem with the extensive changes to the water side facade. But I would if it was felt as close to the original as the front. So overall, I do not have a big problem, really, any significant problems with these plans, and I appreciate the work you've done and what you've done to show us how you're going to keep the architectural detailing, because I think it's significant. It's not, the most important, typical kind of structure in Chatham, but it has its own unique details, and I appreciate what you've offered. I'm sorry to make it so long, but.
No,
No,
that's
I think your
perfect.
comments are instructive as we
Yeah.
think about the future with other sites, so that was helpful
Very
to me
much so.
anyway.
Yeah, very much so. Thank you. It's interesting, the garage, and why, I asked about the garage 3 or 4 times there at the site visit, and again, I was hoping that you would include the garage, because what reason is, I hope when you do the garage, think about what you just took away, because if this was another kind of an application, we would probably beat you up and say, okay, why don't you save the garage? Pick it up and move it. In other words, so whatever those elements of the property in 1920, whenever it was built, I don't care what, 1920, 1930, was it 40, but it's still there. And so hopefully you're going to get that job.
I hope so too.
But think about that when you do that, because I think it would be a very, we do it a lot. Somebody has a very historic property, but they want to build a monster house. We said, okay, take the historic and just move it so we don't lose it. Now, I gather from what you're telling me, the condition of those garages is just not movable.
Yeah,
I mean,
if you stuck
garages
your head
traditionally,
inside, you'd see
there's
it.
nothing holding it together,
And the framing is very slim.
Yeah, no, I understand, but just the thought.
Yep.
We seem to be in lecture mode, Nancy. Anyway, so, okay, other than that, yes, Bob?
I have a question similar to Nancy's, I guess. The lower right, the southeast axon, the lower part, that looks like there's some kind of a turret in the back. Is that what that is, or?
That's what I asked.
Is there something that you could blow that?
No,
I
well,
think it's about the windows, the two-story windows that have the peak in them on the bottom left.
yeah, that, above that thing, yes, what is that? Well, it looks different than the dormers, that's all. Looks like it's triangular.
Yes, it's a three-sided bay window with the roof lines coming together to a common ridge.
Okay. It looked, well, first glance, it looked to me like it was a sort of a separate turret there, which would not have made sense to me, but
It does.
I get it now.
Gives you that impression.
I get it. And also, I've belabored PSD before about their elevations and how they're misleading or hard to fathom. And these axons are a much better rendition of what things will look like than just a row of different roof lines as you look down the elevation. So thank you for that.
If you think about before computers, if we were to ask an architect to generate that kind of, I guess that is orthographic, is that called orthographic or isometric? Oh, before your time. In other words, to do it with a ruler and a pencil would take a long time. I mean, you probably
Especially
press a button.
those roof lines and.
Yeah. Anyway,
pitches and-
all right. I think we have got a good consensus. We would need 2 motions, one relative to historical significance, and then whether or not it's to delay, if that's okay. Bob?
Yep. I move the Chatham Historical Commission finds that the building located at 552 Shore Road is historically significant because it is in whole or in part 75 years old or more, and it possesses architectural value or significance in terms of period and style in and of itself, but also in conjunction with other buildings in the area.
Second?
Thank you very much. Any other comments, members of the public? Okay, we'll get a quick roll call. Bob?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Okay, part 2?
Historical Commission also finds the proposed work to be done dated July 21st, 2025, will not materially diminish the historic significance of the structure, and therefore the commission does not impose a demolition delay.
I'll second.
Thank you very much. Any other comments from the public? Seeing none. Bob?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Thank you very much. Really appreciate
your
the
time.
efforts.
Thank you.
Mr. Ford, I just noticed the address on the application is Soar Road.
Oh,
So it's all.
I take full responsibility. Right.
Give my best to Aaron. Hope he's not working too hard. And that Peter is enjoying his semi-retirement.
Full retirement now.
Is he?
Yes.
So he's now just pushing the grandkids.
That's right.
All right, very good. Okay, guys, we have a number of things quickly to discuss, and very positive. If you don't mind, run to the old business of the agenda.
Participant is now exiting.
It's all right, go ahead.
Okay, very quickly, the West Chatham Housing Development, they're not moving much from my perspective about comments. You know, they're gonna paint the doors different colors, and rather to meet the height locations, they're gonna do this, they're gonna squash everything down. I don't know what zoning is gonna do, whether or not they're gonna deny it and this thing goes into court, but there's a meeting this Thursday, the 21st, at 2:00. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna be here and I won't attend, so if anybody feels like attending and speak for yourself and/or the commission's comments, you're certainly welcome. The other thing that developed with the housing is that the Penrose has provided their plans for the second development in South Chatham on Meeting House Road. Pretty much a mirror copy, almost exactly the same buildings they're building, and it just is, in my view, a shame that they can't be more creative and just recognize if they make the buildings different, it's gonna be a lot nicer. It's just gonna look like well, anyway. So, no comments. Having said that, very positive on the second item, rules and regulations, we finally were able to get a meeting with the council. Jay
Tallerman.
Tallerman, the new town council. We had a very good meeting with Bob and I, Katie, and Christina. Christina did a great job in articulating to the attorney what our issues were and what we're trying to do. We're talking about the issue of historical significance. We're talking about the issue of properties. It's not our agenda, so technically we're not going to say much, because you have in front of you copies of the existing rules and regulations and determination of applicability. That's item B. And secondly, you have just a page from our rules and regulation. What needs to happen here, and the attorney agrees, if we want to find a way to have, like, for instance, that houses that came to us, we had, like, it's obvious, there's no Form B, it really could have been done administratively. Just like we crept up to the issue of administrative approval of very small changes, we want to try another way to determine historical significance. We're not abdicating that responsibility. It still is the Historical Commission's responsibility. But if we want to have an applicant avoid a full hearing process, all the costs, the attorneys and everything else, and have it done separately with a consultation of maybe a member, two members of the commission and the preservation consultant and staff. In other words, that decision would still be ratified by the commission. It would have to come back, just as we do now. So it's a process. And the bottom line of what the attorney indicated, yeah, we can do that. You can change your rules and regulations to put that procedure in place. I've asked Bob to take a shot at it, and he will, how we would change the wording. But we still need to modify the bylaw in the sense that on item B, where it says the commission shall hold a public hearing and determine whether or not it's historically significant. So he needs to just do a little lawyering and coming up with some different words, which says it's not just the commission, but maybe staff or something like that. It means we're going to go to town meeting. He was a little concerned about town meeting. I'm not concerned. I think we're doing something positive. It's the issue How many times? What are you gonna do about River Bay in 20
Yeah,
years?
exactly.
We need to address it, and I think we need, just as we've been I think we've been very transparent with the public in the years I've been on the commission, that, we are recognizing, and sometimes things have to change. So anyway, at our next meeting, it'll be on the agenda, we'll have something to actually, review, but I wanted to give you a heads up. Okay. Number 3, apparently we found out that Mass Historic Commission got some kind of a logjam, that we're not the only ones who haven't received the determination of availability, that there are other applications which are jogged up there. We originally were told we're going to answer in 30 days. It's been months. So I'm going to be finally writing a letter with a nicer tone and say, what's up, guys? We'll find out where we are. Our friends at the Nickerson Foundation are very, what's going on? And I just say, well, we've done what we can. And we want to take the next step because we still feel positive they're going to say yes, but we still have to find the funds and do a formal application. Christina has been busy with Eric Dre in terms of coming up with the proper contracting language and procedure for him to begin the update of the Form Bs. Interesting, in discussions with the attorney, the Form Bs become an integral part because there's something that a professional consultant looked at a property and said, nah. In other words, although, that's not a final determination, but it gives you information to deal with, you get an address, what happened here, and somebody did the research, or at least some of the research. Not as extensive as Nancy would have done, but some of the research.
Can I ask a quick question about that?
Sure, yeah.
Is there like a way that, it feels like some of the properties where they're just drive-bys, like that's going to become more of an issue if they're hidden and
Yes.
if we're relying on whether or not there's a Form B, then if there's not a Form B and that kind of somehow infers.
Yeah, but Eric did every house, no matter where it
No, I
was.
know, but he does, I'm just saying, I noticed on this one, it said because I can't see it more. I
Yeah.
can't see it from the road, so I
Yeah.
don't know how, and I
Right.
thought, well, that could be a problem with certain places.
Yes, oh, yes, absolutely. That's
And
what
then
we
I
wanted.
also, there was a couple that I found didn't have forms, but have really old dates. So I just,
Yes.
if we rely totally on whether or not there's a form, I
Oh,
think
no,
we need to
it's
be
just
really careful.
It's
Okay.
one more tool, yeah. And we need to do what we do, a site visit. If someone's putting an application, they need to, they legally probably don't have to say yes, but we tell them, if you don't let us on the property to really look at it,
It's your risk.
it's your risk. All right, good. I think that's good. That's why next time we meet, we'll go into discussion.
Sorry, I just had one thing to say. In his contract, there is a windshield assessment. I think that's what Nancy's referring to. And then also, I just wanted to put this out here too. Nancy had found a couple that don't have Form Bs. If anyone else has any questions, we can make a list for Eric that he can start on once the contract is finalized.
I mean, I have found a couple houses that have dates of the 1700s that we do not have Form Bs on.
Yeah, well,
So,
that's nice.
yeah.
Okay, great. All right, next item, demolition by neglect has been neglected, but I have been told they're gonna try and reprioritize some work. And again, bottom line, I just want the staff to give me a position, and then we'll determine what we're gonna do.
My biggest thing on that is I think that we have to somehow have a consequence.
Yes,
You can't just write the rule that, have people follow
you
it.
got it, Steph. The Coast Guard Boathouse, the work is proceeding pretty well, and it's scheduled to come back this fall. We'll see.
This fall or next fall?
Say again?
This fall or next?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, they've almost done
moved
with the
it up?
pilings.
Wow.
I hope I still have my boat in the water. I'd like to sail down with it.
This says fall 2026.
I thought 2026.
Oh,
That was my understanding from Gary.
25.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the plan. Sorry about that.
Wow.
Now, hopefully I'm not wrong, but I'll check it.
I think it-
No administrative approval, and we did have one correspondence about 75 Hallway, which has asked to withdraw its application from the Cape Cod Commission.
Excuse
And they
me.
will be submitting a complete new application to us.
Sorry, this agenda went out before a ratification came through, and I did put it online, so we can talk about it, but for 407 Old Harbor Road, I believe Nancy and Bob took a look. There was an administrative approval for some work in the back of the property.
Can we do that?
It's
on the
online.
official
You
agenda?
just, you did not receive, it was ratified after the packets went out. Or,
Okay.
excuse me, it was decided.
Who
among
did it?
Nancy and Bob.
Can one of you say something?
Well, it took a while to find it, I'll put it that way. And if you rummage around in the backyard, you can see what they're up to, but I think it's just removing stuff that was added later that shouldn't have been there, so I have no problem.
And maintenance of
Yes.
existing.
Oh, yeah, the new rubber roof or whatever, right.
All right, well, thank you very much. That's kind of the issues we're working on. Okay, good.
We need to vote on the admin approval? I think we
Yes.
do.
We need a motion.
I move we approve the property through administrative review.
Second.
Okay, any other comments? Thank you very much. Bob,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Steph,
Yes,
Janet?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. One last thing. Preservation Awards. I need to get our act together. You didn't do that, did you? The copies of the forms for the
I
applicant?
did not, I'm sorry.
Okay.
We do have one more correspondence.
That's
that
all right.
we do.
What I'm going to ask Christine to do in the next week or so is to send me copies of last year's request form. Christina tells me we've already got 10 potential applicants, so
Good.
that's good news, but, it doesn't mean, we don't know what that is, and I looked at it. So I still want to do the due diligence and send a letter to all of the people who have been and participated in the past and say, I passed some houses that I think, boy, we really should have given that award, and people don't. It's like, it's just something to do, but I think we'll do. And then I'll call the meeting of the group. And, the commission, the committee consists of myself, Janet from the Historical Commission, Kevin Wright, and another young woman from the commission, I can't think, and then 2 members of the HBDC. We still need a at-large member. We need an odd number, so I guess I would ask some of you to think about someone who's involved in historic preservation. I don't know, just maybe Ellen Briggs or somebody like that, from the POP.
Ellen,
Who's not on the Historical Commission, not on the HBDC, but still, and, it's like 2 or 3 meetings, that's it. It's not a big deal. So if you could send some recommendations back to me and to Janet, we'll meet and we'll go forward. We get a lot of feedback from people about that, and I think it's a very positive thing. You in the first beginning?
I founded it.
Well,
Sorry. And I'll tell you why we have those plaques if you want to know. It's the only amount of characters that fit on the plaque. That's why they look the way they do.
that's why they're so what?
Well, you know how the plaque, it's
Yeah,
like, it
awards.
says certain things,
Yeah.
there's a certain number of characters you can have.
Yeah.
And it's the only one that fit into the budget, and so.
Well, that's, people
just
say,
saying.
why don't you have more information?
I
Let
totally
me
went
tell you.
through that, understood.
I know, because the plaques are a defining moment. No, I gotta watch what I say now. We used to have fundraising, and the fundraisers went away, so I convinced the town, and the town limits us to 5, but we're gonna do more than 5 this year.
Well, I can tell you that I have done a search of sign shops, that you can order online, and they are still limited unless you want to spend like $200 a plaque.
Yeah, I know.
So I,
Yeah,
Yeah.
award 2020, yeah, right.
yeah, anyways, I
So
take
it's all
full,
Nancy's fault.
it's all my fault.
All right, quickly, what year
What year?
did
Oh,
we
God.
start it?
Oh, well, now it was a long time ago. 2003? Does that sound right? 2004, 2003?
I'm trying,
I
we
mean, I
don't,
can look it up. I still have all the old
Yeah.
files.
we don't put what year it is.
That sounds about right, because I had to
2004?
go back because we have the,
2003?
old, not the plaques,
Yeah,
but
the big
the
things.
write-ups and
Yeah,
everything like that.
And I have them too.
think it was
And we did it
2004.
at the lounge at the Chatham Bars Inn, the
Yeah.
first one.
I remember
They let
that was a
us go
big
there,
deal.
And then we did it at
Yeah.
the Wayside.
You
I
got
think.
free drinks and free hors d'oeuvres.
I think they did do that for us. Yeah.
Now we get a piece of cheese.
If we're lucky, yeah.
Okay, here we go. I think we're done unless somebody wants to stay. All right, can a motion?
I make a motion that we retire this meeting, in this meeting.
Thank you.
Second?
All right, thank you very much. Bob?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Everybody's attendance.